as you know, it's always a pleasure for me to attend the long service awards and recognition, and Tania, this is really special given the length of time. And I've actually just stepped out very briefly from a regional meeting, but for something like this, I really wanted to recognise that. But fortunately, Chris is going to talk a little bit about your long and important career with us.
So, just
come in, everybody. Hello.
Seeing that Frank has to go back to the regional meetings, I've been the one that's been inducted to read out 30 years of Tania. I looked at that title and obviously it's a typo. There's no way that we've been here 30 years, Tania, so I'll also say that as well as not getting that title right, I didn't actually write this because I've had a quick skim through and some of the things in here might get me in trouble, so Tania, I'd just like to say straight off the bat. I've got a clue as to who did, but
incriminating evidence, as you say.
so there is 30 years of Tania Tate summarised on one sheet. There's a bit of detail, but obviously 30 years, it's hard to compress down to a short speech. And obviously Tania's done a lot in those 30 years. So we'll just go through some of the highlights. It starts with Tania started with Tate in 1981 as one of Mr. Tate's Manchester girls. So to clarify, Tate was in Manchester Street. It wasn't about how money was earned in those days. She was hired by Peter Corns, who was then in personnel. So obviously, probably everyone here knows Peter Corns. He was manufacturing manager for many, many years, but prior to that, he was in personnel, and jointly was responsible for hiring Tania, and Trish Jones was part of personnel at that stage, hiring her as well. So Tania became a leading hand and worked on the AM and CB radios. So I think probably for many of us, CB radios had finished by the time most of us started working. And then became involved in the T500 series, which was obviously a very, very popular and successful radio for the company. She was involved in the implementation of the Kanban system and also manufacturing's first computer. So think about that, first computer. Maybe this 30 years was close to accurate. When she worked for auxiliaries and power supplies, she was responsible for transferring all handwritten bombs onto WANG. So WANG was our first computerised system. WANG and the fax system, we had those dumb terminals that everything was green, wasn't it? Typing. She created hand-drawn key points and pans until VP graphics became available. And in 1991, she was responsible for writing the company's first training school manual. So obviously it's something that we take for granted in the company is our good quality in our training system. So Tania, right at the start there, well not at the start, but way back in 91, wrote the original training manual. When she moved into the T3000 hand portable production line, she assisted with the implementation and setup for the day-to-day running of a new line. She assisted in hiring and training over 60 people for the new production line. Mike Vicker remembered stealing Tania away from Pat Baker and her old school experiences and skills. Were invaluable in bringing the new line together. So I remember when I first started in the company and working on the power supply line, and the boss of that line supervisor was Pat Baker. Whose second in charge was Tania. And man, that was a line where you were not late back from breaks. You had to make sure your quality was good. Mine wasn't, obviously. But standards on that line were very, very, very high. It was a line that at morning tea break, lunch break, afternoon tea break, you were actually checking your watch before the bells rang to make sure that you're actually moving down, because if Pat wasn't there, you sort of breathe a sigh of relief, but when Tania was there, where have you been? So yeah, they are my words, these aren't. Tania is remembered as a bit of a mini Hitler. In those days, the production team knew what was expected from them, and they were trained to Tania's exacting standards. This training showed through in the quality and quantity of work produced. So, you know, we sort of laugh about it, but it was discipline that was installed in that line, and it did come out in the work, the output, and the quality of production. Because we've got to remember back in these days, processes were much more manual, so you know, it probably relied more so on that sort of discipline and work ethic.
What are you laughing at? I can't say.
In 1996, she moved into her role with documentation and implemented a documentation system for ancillaries in T2000. She also maintained and improved quality systems for mobiles. In 2000, she became a team member of the newly formed Product Data Group, and her responsibilities increased from T2000 documentation to all production areas of Tate. For the past 11 years, she has been an integral member of this team, and her skills and experience have been invaluable in bringing together all product documentation across the whole campus. She's in the final stages of completing her diploma in information design and is undertaking her internship with Kurt. She's been heavily involved with the changeover from TMS to the implementation of TateMap and ensuring all documents are created with guidelines set by the quality team. She's a Tate Hub guru and likes to keep things up to date as possible. She has recently updated the hub to reflect the recent changes from operations manufacturing to engineering and supply chain. This also coincided with her team being renamed Product Information Team, now reporting together. So yeah, I noticed when we looking for stuff in Tate Hub the other day that we've been in there moving stuff around, but I still managed to find what I was looking for, so it's quite impressed. I managed myself before being able to find it. Also that with what you've done really did make sense. On the lighter side of things, Tania is also fondly remembered for her golfing prowess, although it would seem that her team members and other teams would rather watch her taking a swing with her clubs than worry about their next hit. Again, not written by me, so
I was younger.
keep yourself probably a day. She enjoys the mini golf range now and has joined her workmates in team building exercises at Pirate Island. Tania could always be counted on for immaculate presentation of both her work and herself. In the past, people would know when Tania was coming from the sound of her high heels on the concrete floors, but unfortunately her Italian designer looking clothes and high heel shoes took a back seat to trackies and sensible shoes after Tania had a skiing accident. Needless to say that even then was she impeccably dressed. The high heels are now back on, and when we were recently offered protective shoes from work, she was disappointed that they did not come with at least a small heel. They're not boots either.
That's what happens when
Steel caps? No, they've got quite thick soles. Tania knows how to use her personality and cute smile to advantage, especially when it comes to new toys like computers and software. Tania likes to have the latest and greatest and isn't afraid to use her womanly charms to get them. Tania's pride in Tate and her work ethics have made her a very invaluable employee and a great team member. Although she now only works 3 days a week, she packs 5 days into those hours. So, short summary of 30 years, Tania. Well, 30 years, but absolutely well done.
I don't believe it all.
And yeah, that happened. So yeah, well done, fantastic. Thanks for your contributions to the company. So.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming. It was a bit difficult now that we've moved under ESC. Now Angela and the girls over there are arranging these sorts of things, so it was hard to try and remember who to invite, who not to invite. And I don't think, I had a limit, basically. So sorry if I missed anyone out. There's a lot of people that here now that have been here for years, just like myself. I'm looking at a couple over there. So I'm not the only one. A lot of people say to me, 30 years, why would you be in the company for that long? And I think one of the biggest things is technology changes. and the company's always changing, and we're coming up with new innovative ideas, and we're always up with the latest, well, kind of the latest software, etc. And if we haven't, we'll soon get it. I'll see to that. Which it's a good place to be because you're on the forefront of technology, and you can, if I was at home being a mum, I probably wouldn't know the things I've known now, and be as knowledgeable. And my children find it quite handy too. It's like, Mum, how do I do this? Oh, that's easy. How do you know that, Mum? I don't know. So yes, it's been a good company to work for because of the change. I think it's never stayed stagnant. Sometimes things go around in circles, and you see sort of where we've gone wrong and where we'll start again and find a new way. And I just hope it continues like that. Thank you.
Then of course forget to give you the gift that Shelley can't give you your tea, so.
Out of course.
Bunch of flowers.
I've moved away too. No better, don't you? That's right.
Look at me. I'd also like to say, on my 25 years, I said to Angus, we had a bet that he would be here in my 50th year. So it's a bit of a shame he can't be here now, but he's still here as well. Thank you. Oh, and yes, my husband, in case you don't know, is David over there.
Maybe back
Put
up
up
slightly.
with me while I'm working. Sometimes moaning grounded.
Oh, I don't think so.
That was the urgent
Part and parcel.
Oh, it's cool.
Rum and coffee.
Help yourself, buddy.